Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to create a gorgeous and very easy to make macrame plant hanger. Plant hangers, in my opinion, are a beautiful way to display greenery around your home, maybe an outdoor area, or really any kind of space that you're decorating. And I find that plants in general bring so much life and color to a space, so when you pair that with the different textures that macrame brings to the table, you just take coziness up to a whole other level. You can showcase any kind of plant in a plant hanger, but I feel like it looks even more beautiful when you pair it with a plant where the foliage and the leaves tend to grow over the sides of the pot. And some common examples of this include your ferns, maybe a philodendron, or my personal favorite, which is the devil's ivy or pothos, which I have a few of already around my home. Now, if you've never heard of macrame before, basically it's a crafting technique where you use some kind of string or rope and various types of knots to create a range of different textiles. You can make tablecloths, rugs, pillow covers. Honestly, the options are endless. Now, the plant hanger that I've designed for today's video is a really easy one. All you'll need to know is 2 different types of knots, and don't worry, I'll be walking you through the entire process. So if you are a complete macrame beginner, then have no fear. This one is definitely for you. To make this plant hanger, all you're gonna need is some rope and some scissors. I'm using this macrame cord that is 4 millimeters in thickness, as I find it's the perfect size without being too chunky or too thin for a lot of DIYs. But if you already have 3 millimeter macrame cord on hand, as I know that's pretty popular too, then that would work just fine. I'm starting off by measuring out and cutting 4 pieces of rope that are 4 meters in length each, and then I'm cutting 2 smaller pieces that are 60 centimeters in length. I find that the ends of this rope tend to fray very quickly after I cut it, so I like to add a little tape to the ends to hold them together. I'm going to gather my 4 pieces of rope that are 4 meters in length each, bringing the ends together so that they're nice and aligned, and then I'm going to fold all of these strings in half. I'm going to hang up these pieces of rope from this halfway fold. I'm using this binder clip that opens and closes, and then I'm going to clip that onto a clothes rack that I have. Feel free to get creative here and use whatever type of hook or even a door handle you can find around your house. Just make sure that whatever you use, you have a way of easily sliding your rope off at the end. Now that I have my longer pieces of rope hanging up, I'm going to make my very first knot, which is a gathering knot. For that, you want to take one of the 2 smaller 60 centimeter pieces of rope that we cut earlier on, create a little loop like so at one of the ends, and place that loop on top of all the other strands that we have hanging up. Taking the longer end of that piece of string, start wrapping it firmly around all of the other strings, making sure to leave the top end and the bottom of the loop exposed. Once you've wrapped the string around approximately 6-7 times or so, thread whatever's remaining of the end over and into that loop at the bottom. Take the top end of the string, give it a pull so that the bottom end of the string is threaded through and sits nice and securely underneath the section of rope that we were just wrapping. Trim away any excess string at the top and bottom, and your gathering knot is complete. You should have 8 pieces of string hanging below your gathering knot. I'm going to section them off into pairs of 2 so that I have 4 separate sections. It's now time to create the second style of knot, and the one that I've opted for is an alternating half hitch knot. To make this knot, take 2 strings that are somewhat adjacent to each other, bring the right string over and behind the left, pull it through, and slide it up like this to create your first half hitch knot. Now we're going to repeat that, but alternate it by bringing the left string over and behind the right one this time, pulling it through and sliding it up to secure that second knot. I'm going to repeat this and create 15 alternating half hitch knots in total. Next, I'm going to create another 15 alternating half hitch knots with the remaining sections of rope. At the again, you should have 4 separate sections of rope just like this. The next step is pretty much the same as what we've just completed. I'm going to make another 15 alternating half hitch knots, except this time I'm going to leave a spacing of about 10 centimeters from the last knot we just made and the first knot of the next section. Now you can eyeball this or you can use a tape measure, it's up to you to measure out the spacing. When completing this set of knots, just make sure that the top part of that rope isn't twisted around. That way all the knots will be facing the same way down the length of the rope, and I just think it makes the end result look a little bit neater overall. Once again, I'm going to repeat the 15 half hitch knots on the remaining 3 sections of rope as well. This time, instead of using a tape measure, you can just hold the adjacent sections up next to each other to make sure that the spacing is the same. For this next step, we're going to be doing the exact same thing as the previous step, leaving a spacing of roughly 10 centimeters and creating 15 alternating half hitch knots on each of the 4 sections. By this stage, we should have 3 groups of 15 half hitch knots down the length of our rope. Now this next step is a little different and probably the trickiest step in this entire process. This time, instead of working our way down the same section of rope, we're going to bring 2 adjacent sections of rope together. And we're going to do this by pairing together the left string of the section on the right and the right string of the section on the left. We're going to bring these 2 strings together, leaving once again a 10 centimeter spacing from the previous knots above and completing another 15 alternating half hitch knots. We're going to work our way around, joining each of the adjacent sections by taking the left string of the section on the right and the right string of the section on the left, leaving a 10 centimeter spacing and repeating the 15 alternating half hitch knots on each. If that all sounds a little confusing, this is what your macrame should be looking like as you complete each of the sections. You'll notice there's a bit of a zigzag pattern going, and you'll see that each section is joined to the next one like so. And finally, we're going to complete the circle by bringing the last 2 strands together. Once you've completed this step, you'll notice that you have this circle or this opening in your macrame, and this is where your pot is going to sit at the end. Once you've done that, we've only got 1 more knot to go, and that is another gathering knot to complete our plant hanger. As we did at the very beginning, we can take our second smaller piece of string, create that loop and place it on top of all the other strands, this time positioning it just where the knots finish up. Taking that longer end, wrap it around all the other strands about 6-7 times, and finally thread the end through that loop at the bottom. Take the top end, pull it so that the loose end at the bottom is threaded through and sitting in the middle of that gathering knot. You can go ahead and trim off any excess string at the top and bottom. Finally, you'll notice that the ends are all a little bit uneven, so I'm going to go ahead and cut them all to the same length to form a nice and even tassel. Now I know some people like to brush out the ends of the tassel to give it more of a puffy look, but I like to keep it looking just as it is here. And this, my friends, is the end result. Once you're done, you can go ahead and place in whatever plant pots you'd like to hang up around your space. I specifically designed this plant hanger to accommodate pots that are roughly between 15 to 20 centimeters in diameter, but as you can see here, it can take a pot that is up to 25 centimeters in diameter as well. I would never hang something this large indoors. I'm not quite sure that my ceiling is strong enough, but it would definitely be an option for maybe outdoors from the roof of our porch or something that's a lot more sturdy like that. I hope you guys enjoyed joining along today. Leave it a thumbs up if you did, and if maybe this is something you might try out for your own space in future. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.